And later on, we can take on some questions after the meditation. So if you can sit comfortably and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. And welcome yourself as this effortless presence. Nothing that you need to do. In this stillness, the inner silence, the peace, the freedom, recognizes itself effortlessly. In this recognition of the peace of being, no one is doing anything. So we do not come together as different people, but we come together as this love, this passion, this interest in truth. And here we are, this effortless listening space, this effortless witnessing space. That has no division in it, in no one doing anything. That effortlessly embraces everything. The sensation of your feet on the ground, the breath, various sensations within the body. Hearing these words, thoughts appearing, without any effort, without any doing. It is so, isn't it? Like the wide open sky. There's no limits and no boundaries. Anything and everything appears within it. Everything that appears to you. The wide open sky of awareness. Without any disturbance. Because the wide open sky is available unconditionally. Available to all sorts of weather. Without any discrimination. The gentle breeze of the spring can arise in that wide open space. As well as the summer heat. It is all taken care of somehow, isn't it? Thoughts arise to you. You perceive is it possible to perceive from the open space of presence, rather from the archives of personal conditions, rather than perceiving from the narrow realm of personhood and past beliefs? Can we meet whatever appears to us freshly, spaciously? Effortlessly, without the tendencies to protect and justify and defend and blame, categorize. To be not knowing, no need to add or remove anything from your experience. To explore this possibility, in relationship, in various circumstances, engaging in the world freshly, moment by moment, not knowing, no personal design, so that there is availability, not a limited way of meeting what is, but a complete availability. Like a leaf that's falling off a tree is available to the breeze. It dances this way and that way and sways around. One moment it's lifted up by the wind, and next moment it's floating towards the ground. Such beauty and such freedom. How the ripples on the surface of the lake as the wind sweeps over the lake. The surface of the lake ripples and shimmers effortlessly in such harmony. Can we discover that within ourselves? A fresh discovery. Not aiming towards anything, not trying to get somewhere. Because there is no separate self, in fact. No separation in truth. It's one self, one reality, one sunshine, one space of being. In listening, we are the entire listening space. We are that which is listened to as well. Well, if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, what you would like to share, so please make sure you unmute your mic. Hello, Charlie.
I was wondering if you could talk a bit about choosing a career or making a living in light of the understanding.
Yes. So, as much as possible, if you can do that which you love, that which you find within yourself, sort of comes from your love, then that would be, of course, the ideal situation, because in a way you are working, but you are doing that which you love. So it's may look like work, but it's not really work. I often think of a musician who loves, to create, to play the violin or the piano. They may seem working hard, but because of their love of what they're doing, it doesn't matter. They could spend hundreds of hours, days, nights. Now, of course, there's also, the food, shelter, and clothing aspect of in life. You have to pay the rent and take care of other things that are more practical. And when we are not unable to somehow combine that which we love with the practical aspects of our life, our budget, our expenditures, then it would make sense to engage in some sort of work that takes care of the food, shelter, and clothing, but that doesn't necessitate too much time from your life. I don't know, it's setting up some internet business which is being managed by a couple of people in the office, and you sort of, find the product. And once you find the product, then you don't have to sort of, the ethics, today's ethics from, maybe it's not today's ethics, at least from what I remember in a few years previously, was to, you work 12, 14 hours a day, that's mad. It's mad. Especially when you're a truth lover, you want to have some free time during the day to contemplate, to enjoy nature, to enjoy music, to enjoy the arts, to enjoy other activities besides, being at the factory. In my case, I didn't start there. I started with being at the what is the name of that animal at the wheel? The animal that keeps turning the wheel. Huh? Yeah.
Hamster.
I started like that with the hamster, and but I felt that what I wanted, I knew that's not what I wanted. That I wanted a more harmonious way. But for various conditions, how my youth developed and the conditions that I was in, it took a while to get, in that, in the direction where there was a balance between work and love and beauty. So it depends on your particular situation, your particular condition, your particular what are your responsibilities. You may have some particular responsibilities if you have family and children and people you are supporting, etc. Then it affects, of course, what decisions you make. What degree of freedom do you have in your life? Varies from person to person. Also, just sharing that besides that, there is an inner way of being with work where you are first engaging in work that you can see some benefit for the whole. Yeah. So like if you're in a factory making bombs, that's really not. So of course you want to engage in some sort of work that you sense your contribution to the whole, no matter how minimal it is. That's important. That of course, there is a personal aspect that you're taking care of your mortgage, your bills, but also there is another aspect, which is that you are a part of the web. Also, there are ways of engaging in activity where we have a predetermined point of view as we engage in the activity. And we bring in the activity our point of view. We may have a certain a priori stand. For example, oh my God, today is Monday. I mean, that's a stand, because today is not Monday. Monday is but when we say today is Monday and I'm feeling that, oh my God, today is Monday, which means I have Tuesday and then Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and only Saturday, maybe I have to work half a day, then I'm going to be off. So it's a setup, it's a psychological setup. But this psychological setup is significant in your life, in your work life, because it's operating in the background. And I remember years ago when I was first starting to, I was in the university, I would work, found a part-time job at the bank. There was a local bank in town, and I was the mail clerk. So I had a little space where all the mail come in, and I had to sort it into various offices in the bank, in the building. And when I was working at the time, I really loved the people. Somehow I found them charming, and I would go in very happy. I would go in and say, "Oh, hello, hello," and most what I remember, the response was not happy. It was like the response was more, what's wrong with you? We're stuck here in the bank. So it was a little surprising to me, but I didn't make a big deal of it. And I went around and I gave the mail to the people, and I joked a little bit. Of course, I was young and I was, careless, and there were older people who had, worries about their life, their family, their whatever, I don't know. But over time, this setup, the position that we take about work and myself, which is the sense of separation that carries itself in our work, it goes on, for decades in our life. I just wanted to mention that there's a fresh way of being with work where it's not called work. It's just a fresh moment of being. Activity, what they call the Shakti aspect of of consciousness, the active aspect of consciousness.
I feel like I've lost all my ambition to have a good job, or like most people grow up wanting to be like be successful, but that ambition has gone, and so and I'm quite young, and I find myself in a situation where I'm expected to get a good job, kind of that thing, and to be honest, I feel slightly like I don't know which way to turn. And yeah,
it makes sense to follow the guidance of people who are happy, So, but you find if you look around you, if you follow the guidance of most people around you, my parents and other people, I wouldn't want to follow their guidance. I wouldn't. I remember I was, brought up to be somebody, so I was in engineering school and I was studying, advanced science, getting degrees, in order to be. So it was part of my conditioning. And at some point, as you were just sharing, all of that collapsed for me. I felt that it was really empty. At least that was my experience. And I was more in love with contemplation and truth and life and friendship and exploration. So there was another aspect of my life that opened up that seemed to be very important. And it did affect all my ambition. I mean, I had actually my ambition, worldly ambition, was gone, which was very alarming for my mom. She was very alarmed. Anyways, what I have discovered, that's just my experience, is that living out of that deeper sense of not the sense of trying to be somebody or to be successful, but a sense of our connection with everything, that there is a level where we're not separate. It's all sort of fits together somehow, I cannot understand it, but you can sense there is a dimension, a way of living that is not about me and my concerns and my worry. To trust that. I found that all sorts of things unfold. Life opportunities unfold, opportunities with work, opportunities with creating. I have actually, from a very young age, after getting my master's degrees and studying towards the doctorate degree, I dropped it all. And I started baking at some time, baking in my apartment in New York City, and selling cakes and pie. At some point, I opened a restaurant. That was a disaster. And then I had cafes, and they were fun in New York City. And later on, I was selling computer software and then computer hardware, and then I, at some point, I became a builder. Go figure, right? I mean, go figure. But what I wanted to share with you is that to live out of what we should be, concern and the image and all of that, at some point that becomes clear that there is no happiness in that, you know. And what's the point? I mean, what's the point? You know, of course you want to take care of food, shelter, and clothing, but at what price, at what cost, you see? So this is something you have to find within yourself, you see. It's just to be aware that happiness really matters. Peace and happiness really matters, not just for you, across the board. And that, you know, how they say in English, les moutons de Panurge, if that boat where the sheep jumps in the water, then all the sheep follows it. You don't need to follow all the sheep to jumping into the water, you see. No. You have this capacity to comprehend and explore and find and discover new ways of living, of being that include and embrace more than just your own kernel, your own limited cocoon, you see. So it's okay to lose the motivation to follow a certain pattern, but also remain open to new discoveries, new unfolding, new messages, new situations, you see. And you can explore and experiment, and you're young, so you can play a little bit. What's the big deal, you see? It's not like there is a big risk, you see, right? So there is that. Now, of course, as more responsibilities come to you, in life, then you'll take that in consideration as well.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And thank you.
We are very dynamic and adaptive as the human organism. It's very, very adaptive, can mold and fit within various. It's not just that mold, the brick, the assembly.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Charlie, beautiful.
Hey, Magdi, I got a question.
Yes, hello, Frank.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I know you can't see me right now, but I know what you mean. You can see me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, my question is sort of gonna be related to what you guys have been talking about, but I actually was thinking this before you started talking. I forget the other gentleman's name, but it was before his question that I was thinking about this. Yeah. So I was listening to a teacher the other day who was talking about abiding in conscience and awareness and consciousness, and how the more you do that, the more decisions could be made from a much higher place. Actually, you get answers from awareness. You get answers, you get direction, you get all that stuff that the body mind's trying to do, but it's so blind by different things that it sometimes just cannot make a decision. And then also the idea that awareness will show us what our real talents are, what our vocations are, just kind of like what you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of confused me, because I always think somehow I have this idea that awareness is basically just like empty space, has no opinions, no nothing, just accept everything. So this was a new twist for me on hearing what awareness can be seen as. What is your take on that? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yes. So yes, as you abide in awareness, meaning as you recognize that the reality of your experience is the reality of awareness, that there is one reality in that, which is consciousness, awareness. And how else would one live? Well, once you understand that, how else would one live if not as this reality? What isn't this reality would be a falsehood. So as this recognition, arises within yourself, the tendency of living with this pattern that we have developed about defending myself and progressing myself and getting there for myself, this pattern becomes less and less the pattern that you use. You actually find this pattern to be started to dismantle. And as this pattern is dismantling, you find that you're in your life, there is more sort of, there's more of a dance. It's not, you're not wearing those heavy, military boots or cowboy boots. You're more sort of wearing those very light modern sneakers, You're more responding and exploring and experimenting, and there is a lot of flexibility in your life. And as the rigidity of your beliefs and your ideas about yourself and the world, how things should be in success and failure, as all of these notions and ideas start to dismantle, then what remains is consciousness taking care of business. Consciousness creating the thoughts that says, yeah, love to go to Hawaii. Oh, gee, I'd love to go to Paris. And then the thought arises, no, let's go to London. You say, yeah, let's go to London. And you go to London. As consciousness is creating these thoughts, and even the deciding thought, the thought upon which, quotes unquote, I act, is also created by consciousness. There is a thought that says, yeah, let's have today pasta, and I don't want tomato sauce. I'm going to have some, Parmesan and olive oil. And this thought that says, that's what I want, is a thought that arises out of consciousness. So you will find that, in fact, in the absence of resistance and battling and imposing your ideas about how things should be, and like you're in the jungle with the machete trying to find your way out in life, rather than living that way, you will find that there is no jungle, no machete. It's all very sweet unfolding. But it's not about you. In other words, consciousness isn't coming and saying, okay, Frank, I'm going to take care of you. No, it's not that way. Rather, there is an understanding within yourself, and it's a lived understanding that, wow, I am consciousness, all is consciousness, and the decisions that I need to make, I make them as consciousness, meaning the thought that arises to you that says, yes, let me ask Magdi this question now, and that the yes that you say, it is consciousness that is presenting the thought, the thought, let me ask Magdi this question, and it's consciousness that is saying, yes, I'm going to ask Magdi this question. So in fact, consciousness presented the question, consciousness asked the question, and consciousness is answering the question.
So, Magdi, so the idea, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the idea of individuality, and I know there is no such thing as a separate being, separate persons, no separation at all. However, when as this teacher was talking, it was almost like she was implying that I was saying it outright, that awareness sort of like knows, like for instance, people having different vocations, like somebody wants to be a priest or somebody wants to be an actor, so that they would get in touch with that and then be able to find the strength or whatever else they needed to pursue that vocation. So that seems there's individuality in that idea. So I'm not sure how that works.
I'm sorry, Frank, I didn't fully. Can you say that last thing you said about somebody wanting to be a priest and somebody?
Yeah. So if somebody has a vocation to be a priest or an actor or an engineer, yes, are those vocations coming from awareness, or are those just body mind, conditioning?
Yes. Well, Frank, there is no person or personal thought. There isn't a person named Frank or Magdi or whatever that is sifting through thoughts and saying, okay, let's think, let me think this now, or let me think that now. No, that's not our experience. We may have this belief that there is a personal thinker who is presenting those thoughts and a personal chooser of the thoughts. That may be this belief, but in our experience, if you look at your experience anytime, you will find that a thought appears to you. And not just the thought, also other things appear to you. Perceptions appear to you, and sensations appear to you, and feelings appear to you. So the thought may appear to you, or an image as well, about priesthood, about being a priest, or being a nun, or being in an ashram. And it may evoke within you a certain feeling, and another thought may appear to you is, yes, I want to do that, and another thought may appear to you, well, there is ashram in India, there is an ashram in Taiwan or in Hawaii. Let me take a look at all the 3 ashrams and see which ones I like the best. You see, so all these thoughts that are appearing to you, they appear to you out of consciousness, and they appear to you as what? You as that which is hearing these words right now, awareness. So evocation, the way I understand vocation is, it is a certain body of thoughts about, for example, you want to be a National Geographic photographer, and it really speaks to you, and it keeps arising for you. You find yourself interested in photographing wild animals or whatever, and so you will find that these thoughts keep arising to you, and the feeling of that says, yes, I'd like to do that, arises to you. And so you say, well, my vocation is to be a National Geographic photographer or to be a priest. But there isn't a personal chooser. And consciousness isn't pre-programming your vocation and distributing it to you when you're ready for it. I mean, that's a nice story. I don't mind stories. That's a nice story. But in fact, that's not at all our experience, that there is a pre-programmed vocation that is programmed for me to be a builder, to be a painter, to be a priest, to be a whatever. No, that's not my experience. In our experience, a thought appears to us, a certain or various thought A, then thought B, then thought C, and then thought D appears to us saying, yeah, I think priest, I'm gonna go to see the church. I'm gonna see if I can become a member of this church. So there is one reality, one creator, one perceiver, one chooser, one doer. And that's that which is real in our experience. And if you look at that which is real in your experience, what is it, if not consciousness? So
yeah, but Maggie, why do certain thoughts appear to certain people and other thoughts to other people? Like I might have the thought, yeah, I want to be, a priest or whatever, like I said before. Somebody else, I want to be an engineer, like you had at some point.
Why?
Why do they appear to different people?
Well, that's creation. Consciousness is infinite creativity. So it presents on this side of the field, an acorn falls down, meaning it's creation of consciousness. And on this side, a palm tree. So at the level of Frank's mind, the ideas about priesthood arise. At the level of Magdi's mind, the ideas of a painter or a musician arise, etc. So the question why, because of the creation of consciousness. It's like asking the question about the ocean. So in the ocean, there are a million waves or ripples or currents. So this wave is 8 inches tall, this other wave is 10 feet tall. Why? The creation, the creativity. This is the Shakti aspect of consciousness. Consciousness has the aspect of activity, and it has the aspect of the passivity. The passivity is the Shiva aspect, the beingness. And the activity aspect, if the Shakti aspect, is the creation. So it creates, it's the creativity of consciousness, Frank. The thing to understand is that that which perceives the thought, I want to be a priest, and that which perceives the thought, I want to be a musician, are not two. The wave that is arising in the northern part of the sea and the wave that is arising, or the waves that are arising in the southern part of the sea, they are both made out of water, and they are both the creation of the ocean.
Okay, I have a better idea, but not quite yet, because I think I'm probably too much into the body-mind idea. I'm still using the old model for all of this. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed hearing your answer.
Okay, Frank.
Thanks, Maggie.
I remember once I was in Albany, New York, and I was walking on the sidewalk. It was in the 70s. And there was somebody walking the other way, down. I was walking up and they were walking down. And at one moment, I felt in a very visceral way that I am them, that I am this person walking down. And it wasn't like some thought or something like that. It was being. It was being, not the limited me. And it's very interesting because that person felt something too, and we had a brief, just a brief, very brief encounter. This is more true. This is more true than the idea and the feeling that I am a person is this a particular person or this particular person, or a storyline of past, present, and future.
Magdi, one last question, if you don't mind.
I
just had a thought. What about when somebody's like a singer? Like we've had some great singers and some great actors, and that's not just a thought. That's an actual skill. And some people, you can. I mean, I've heard young kids singing like they're adult. They've got these great voices and they're amazing and everything. That's not a thought. That's an actual thing. That's an actual, skill.
Yes, it's important to comprehend that that skill belongs to the body-mind, to that particular body-mind, and that there isn't a personal self to whom this skill belongs. But yes, this skill is a real skill which belongs to that particular body-mind, and it's a skill that may not mean much, no matter how beautiful the expression is, may not mean much to a butterfly, but it means a lot to other humans. We love to listen to this beautiful instrument, this body-mind instrument that is expressing such vocal vibrations and harmony. In the same way, we love to wear a ring made out of gold than wear a ring made out of steel or cast iron, because it evokes in us a certain feeling, a certain enjoyment, so there isn't the quality of gold. There is no personal self that is claiming goldhood, or that is claiming this beautiful singing, talent. We superimpose onto the body-mind instrument as somebody. We say, "Oh my God, you are so great. You are so great. You, who is you? Who is so you?" When we say, "You are so great, I love your voice," who are we talking to? We are talking to this person. We say, "Wow, you are so great." But yes, obviously, this body-mind is great musical. There is musical talent in how this body-mind has been created. But you should be careful not to give the recognition to the body-mind, but to the creator of this body-mind. And the creator of the body-mind is the one creator, is the creator of all body-minds.
Yeah, that brings up another question, Maggie, because if that's the case, then why is some body minds, so talented, and others like me? I would love to be able to be a singer. I've never been able to carry a tune. But why some people, why do some people have these talents and others not? If it's all, all creation creation seems to be a little bit, preferential.
Let's imagine that everybody had that talent. So you don't need to go visit you don't need to go to concert. You stay home and you sing, You build yourself an echo chamber. If you have the talent of everybody, of every possible talent, let's say, for example, the musical talent. If you could have the talent of all the musical talents of the soprano and the alto and all the various talents, then you are a self-fulfilled, you don't need to interact with any. And imagine you have all, besides the musical talents, imagine, because the question can apply to other things. Why are some people more, can run fast and some other people can run slower? Why can some people create great engineering bridges and others not? Why can some understand science and others? And if you apply it to everything, okay, then imagine that you have all these talents of all possibilities of all people across all universes. First, I think it would fry your brain, I would say. But besides that, what would you need any interaction with anybody? You've got it all. What fun would that be?
So it's impersonal. So if somebody's a great singer or whatever, that's just an impersonal thing. It's from awareness, and it's not to be owned by any individual because it's all from awareness. Right?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolute impersonality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of fun because we can buy tickets and go listen to, an art show or a singer, or go to a museum and watch the painters of somebody who can paint like I could never paint like these people or sing like these people, never. So it's fun, it's life. It's Shakti, it's life, it's a play. It's, you remember when we were kids, we used to go to the arcades when all these shows and all these, plays, and the guy that could put his leg behind his head, and the other person who could, I don't know, just all the things that they do. I don't remember anymore. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
It's life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty. I mean, look at the planet Earth. You see, look at the planet Earth. I mean, heck, you've got the Mojave Desert, you've got the Sahara Desert, you've got the jungles, in Southeast Asia. You've got the fruits. You look at the fruits and the nut. I was listening to this YouTube video yesterday about nuts, and they were saying there are over 100,000 edible nuts. 100,000. I know about walnuts and pecans and cashew. I know maybe 7 or 8. 100,000.
Well, Magdi, I love knowing how you spend your time off. That's great. You're looking up nuts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. Because it brings out, a lot of the stuff brings up, I notice it brings up envy sometimes in me when I sometimes get envious of people who can do things that I can't. And I just have to really keep looking at it, that there's nothing personal in any of it. It's just awareness doing its thing, and it doesn't belong to any one person, because there isn't any one person. There is no separation between consciousness and, yeah. Okay.
And also look at it this way, Frank, that these people's talents, which are not yours, and they're available for you to enjoy, whenever possible.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look at the tennis players. My God, I mean, you can watch them and have such. You don't have to do much effort. You don't have to be sweating and training like they train. They train for 20 years. 12 hours a day. You don't have to. You can just watch them. Amazing what they're doing. So that's available to you. So in a way, rather than envy, we can sort of be grateful for that, for how generous and creative God is.
Okay. That's great, Magdi. Thanks so much. It's been a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Frank. Same here.
Magdi?
Kelly.
Hi.
Hey.
First of all, I just wanted to say, I think I've had experiences like what you were talking about when you recognize somebody, a stranger. I never thought of it as living as being them, but I've run into people where it seems like there's a recognition, which has always been really kind of startling and at the same time so familiar. Anyhow, I wanted to ask you a question. Where do memories come from?
Well, Kelly,
Are they just other thoughts?
a memory is a thought that appears in the moment, in presence.
Is it the vehicle, the body-mind vehicle that is doing that? I mean, is responding in that way, or is it consciousness?
The body-mind vehicle is the medium of God's expression. It's not that which expresses. So it's a conduit, let's say, or the vehicle via which God sends whatever God sends. A memory, is not the result of any body-mind activity. It is a result of the source, which is beyond the body-mind, meaning consciousness, which is the reality of our experience, this moment and every moment, is that reality that manifests itself via the body-mind as an image, a sensation, which within this image and this sensation, there is a reference to time. So in this moment, for example, you may perceive being with your mother when your mother was 20 years old, for example. You may perceive the image of being in her room, she's brushing her hair, whatever. This image and the sensation that comes with this image arises in this moment. It appears in this moment freshly. It's a fresh manifestation that's arising via the body-mind as, neurons, neuronic activity within the brain, and also a certain reverberation of sensations within the body, the touch of the hairbrush on your hair and your mom's hand on your face or on your head, the sensation. It arises freshly in this moment. It arises out of presence and as presence. So it's this very moment of presence that takes on the form of this memory. And within this experience, there is a recognition of a certain connection. And this connection is the connection with your mom, with quotes unquote, the past. But in fact, this connection is not a connection with anything in the past. It is a connection with the reality. It's like reality connecting itself with itself. The reality of this experience is this in this moment. And the reality of what this experience is referring to in a so-called past is also in this moment. Because the reality of all our experience is not in time, is not in thought, is not in space. Rather, our experience, the content of our experience, let's say, arises within the reality of consciousness. So the content of our experience arises within the reality of consciousness, which is this in this moment, but it is not separate from the reality of consciousness. So a memory is a fresh Shakti manifestation of consciousness, which is always referring to love, meaning to intimacy, to wholeness. And the love that we feel in this moment is the love that we are and that we share in the moments where we are not in the sense of separation. And when we are in the sense of separation, the memory that arises to us, we add on to it the sense of separation. Although the memory that may appear to us is pristine in that it is just an instantaneous manifestation of consciousness, we add on to it on occasion the sense of separation, meaning, for example, why did this happen to me? This shouldn't have happened to me. Why did my mother do this? Why wasn't I more loving to my mother, etc., which is an add-on. And this add-on is erroneous only from the perspective that it refers to a me which is separate from my mother.
That's very clear, what you said.
I had a very interesting experience once where I had this memory. Okay, I'm going to share it. I'm going to edit it as I share it because it's had this memory of I'm going to share it as it is. Okay. Of being, a young boy, and was locked in the room, and all right. So I was being hit. Okay, I was being hit, and my brother was outside of the door, and he was asking for this to stop. I had this memory many times. And one day I had a memory, I would say it was a memory more like as if an insight, as if it was more than a memory. It was sort of a moment of a flash or something like that, where I saw that, in fact, it was my brother was inside the room and he was getting hit, and I was outside of the door. Asking for this to stop. And I realized that, all this time that I thought the memory, that the first memory that I had was so true, this is what happened. I realized it was completely false. It was the opposite. And what I realized at that moment is that in the first memory, I had a call for help and a call for love. And in the second memory, it was a call of help and a call for love, but the direction was different. In the first case, it was being directed towards me. In the other case, it was directed towards my brother. And as I'm sharing this now, I realize that it doesn't matter really.
No, it doesn't.
Direction. It was just a call for love, and call for love when it appears. It is pointing to the unhappiness of separation and the beauty of love.
Yes. That's a great memory.
Right. And for many years, I realized that there is this tendency to repeat the past, and maybe this tendency to repeat the past is to somehow decipher our understanding about love and about peace and about beauty. But for many years, rehashing the past seemed to be sort of enforcing the sense of me. You know,
Yeah.
what happened to me, but maybe there is more to it than that.
That's the neat thing about it. It could be that there's more to it. But that's a great discovery.
Yeah, and I mean, the greatest discovery, is the discovery of our true nature as peace, as love, as happiness, as freedom, as joy.
And the heart being so wide open.
Yes, absolutely.
For that.
There are
Yeah.
no gates to the heart. There's no gate. No. Yes, the gateless gate. The heart is the gate.
And maybe the memory was chasing you until you could see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in fact, like in our experience, when we look truly at our experience, sort of, when we are very stoic about our experience, we realize that in fact, in our experience, there's just presence, being, awareness, and not somebody in time and space. And the more we get clarity about that, about the reality of consciousness and the transparency of it, and the impersonal reality of consciousness, and to sort of bring it to in our life, being that, living that, it's sort of it checks all the boxes.
Yeah, I think there's a saying, no stone unturned.
No stone unturned.
Right?
It doesn't need a stone unturned, right?
That sounds like a boulder.
I love stones. Interesting, fascinating.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelly.
Magdi,
Yes.
can I ask?
Hello, Mina. Yes.
When you are speaking about memories, there's also the thinking that when these memories are in this space and time where this body mind is living, this Mina, from little Mina to old Mina, and then when this Mina dies, then all this will disappear. This whole world of Mina will disappear. And also with this world, these memories. But nevertheless, many times we are hearing about, for example, when a master says, when this person or this human being is interested in spiritual things, so he has worked about this in past lives. We are speaking about past lives, and so there must be some connection from one life to another life. How you explain this? Because at one side, this whole thing, this whole body mind will disappear, and with this body mind all. And then the other side, we are speaking about one is more, yes, on this way and one not.
Yes. So take, for example, the electric current, you know, in this room. If you shut off a light, the electric current is still there. You look at the ocean, when the waves, when the wave comes up and comes back down, now the wave is zero. The ocean is still there. Where did the wave go? Where did the wave arise from? Where does a personal mind arise from? Where does the world arise from? Where does the body arise from? Where does the sensation arise from? From the ocean. Where does it go? Where does it recede? It recedes back to its source. Did anything happen? No, nothing happened. It's just a wave, the ocean waving. This is the Shakti aspect of consciousness, the dancing aspect of consciousness, the creative aspect of consciousness. There isn't a personal mind that belongs to a personal self. The wave is not a personal wave. It's the wave of the ocean. All the waves are not their own personal waves. They may think they're a personal wave. They may feel I'm a personal wave. They may be jumping down saying, oh, I'm the great wave, I'm a great wave. But in fact, when we understand the wave, when we understand the ocean, we know that all the waves are the ocean. There isn't a personal reality. Mina. What is Mina in this moment? Because if Mina is, then Mina is in this moment. So what is Mina in this moment? When I take a look at what I am in this moment, am I not consciousness? Am I not awareness? Yes, there is a perception. I perceive a hand, I hear a voice, I sense a heartbeat. But what is that which I am? Can I call myself Magdi? Yes, I can call the body Magdi. My mom, she was from Egypt. She said, Magdi is a nice name. So they called it Magdi. And so I call it Magdi too. And, you know, why complicate things? Everybody said, okay, Magdi. So I say Magdi too. I call it Magdi. But am I Magdi? It's a different question. Magdi appears to me as a sound, Magdi, a sound. There is an understanding. The sound refers to somebody, to a body mind, to an experience. I look in the mirror. Oh, this part of, not the whole picture, because when I look in the mirror, I see everything. But it's part of this that's Magdi. And then I realize, Magdi is a whole field of sensation, that in fact, there isn't an actual Magdi, actual Magdi. It's part of everything. This Magdi is, the experience of Magdi is experience of sensations, perceptions, feelings, images, and the reality of all of that in this moment is consciousness. I say, I realize in that moment the wave is the ocean. The wave is the ocean. So when you come to this understanding, the question about, well, how many times did this wave arise? Did it improve every time it arose and arose and arose, and finally, boom, it realizes the ocean? A wave doesn't realize anything. the whole game of quotes unquote ignorance is game of the ocean. Because what other reality is there besides the ocean? When you look at consciousness, what other reality is there besides consciousness? So therefore, if there is a game being played, or a show being played, or a certain dance being played, which we refer to as ignorance, it can only be the game of consciousness. Either the game is real or is not real. If the game is not real, then what are we talking about? End of conversation. If the game is real, we say, it's a real game. It's game. There's only one reality, which is consciousness. So the game, the reality of the game is the reality of consciousness. Consciousness is playing the game of, I am a wave, I am a wave, I am not the ocean, I am, and then, now I am the ocean. Yep, I am the wave, I am a wave, I am not the ocean, I am better than you, you are a small wave, I'm a big wave. I am the ocean. When you come to this understanding, everything is settled. All your questions or the mind is settled in that understanding that I, that which I've always referred to as I, is consciousness. Whether the body-mind was 12-year-old me now, 14-year-old me now, 20-year-old me now, the I has never been anything else than what it is, the reality of consciousness. And the reality of all appearances, meaning the reality of Mina, 12-year-old, Magdi, 15-year-old, the reality of the sound of the birds, the reality of the mountain, is my reality, the reality of consciousness. And in our experience, when you take a look at your experience, when you experience an image of Mina or a sensation of Mina, the sensation or the image is intimate with awareness. It's not possible without awareness. It's made out of awareness. Awareness taking on the form of an image, of a sensation, of a mountain, of the ocean, of the wind, the sound of a bird, the sound of this voice. And I am that. I am this magical, magnificent reality. That is right now perceiving this perception via a body-mind that is its own creation. And I know myself to be this transparent presence. Like in the night dream, I may dream that I am a 10-year-old boy sitting at the edge of a lake, looking at the sunshine glittering over the surface of the lake. But I know that the lake and the sunshine that's glittering on the lake, and I know that the boy that I am. And I know the perception that the boy is perceiving. All of it is my creation. I, the dreamer of this dream. All of it is my creation. And that in fact, there is no separate reality called the lake or the sunshine or the young 12-year-old boy. There is no separate reality to any of that outside of my reality, the dreamer of the creator and the perceiver and the dreamer of this dream. What am I? There are no words to describe that which I am. How could words, thoughts express the inexpressible? I am the love, the beauty, the freedom, the joy. Brahman.
Yes, beautiful.
Well,
Thank you so much.
okay, Mina. Very lovely to be with you all. Thank you all. Yes,
Thank you.
Mina,
Thank you.
Charlie, George.
Thank you, Magdi. Thank you. Thank you. Love you too. Love you so much. Thank you, Mina.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
Hope.
Oriana,
Thank you all.
Ola Isaac, and hello, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kelly.
you.
Thank you.